Today, we are here to debate whether natural features such as rivers and mountains should have rights. Good morning. My name is Kira, and today, as members of the local population, Alana, Marianne, Clodagh, and myself are here to debate whether natural features such as rivers and mountains should be granted legal rights. On one hand, people argue that granting legal rights to natural features ensures protection and preservation. On the other hand, others believe that while environmental protection is essential, granting legal personhood to rivers and mountains introduces legal complexities. Our discussion this morning will explore both perspectives and determine the best approach to environmental conservation. If Stance 2 could give their opening statement. Can Stance 2 go, please, for the opening statement? Or even Stance 3?
Okay, right. Sorry about that. Okay. Right. So we're group 27, and our stance is that should business have rights from a business perspective? Firstly, I'd like to explain to you the purpose as why businesses are involved with nature in the first place. Businesses produce useful products from nature, such as paper from trees, cars and trains, stuff like that, from metals found within nature. These businesses need workers, so they create job opportunities in rural areas where people need to cut down trees or mine quarries for it, etc. Businesses also benefit to society or charity, as now most businesses are involved with contributing back to it, such as planting new trees when they are cut down.
Hello everyone, my name is Maha. I will talk about the business's effects in nature. So while businesses are essential for economic growth, they often can come at a cost to the environment. That include forests are cut down to make space for farms and building. This destroys homes for animals and makes climate change worse. Trees clean the air, so losing them is bad for the plant. Second, business use a lot of natural resources like water, oil, and minerals. These resources can run out if we use them too fast. Finally, business contribute to pollution. Factors release harmful chemical into the air and water, affecting both the environment and the human health. Air pollution causes respiratory disease, while water pollution contaminates rivers and oceans. Now we've seen this how business affect nature. Let's look at the impact of giving nature legal right. Next slide, please. Some people argue that nature should have legal rights. Where this idea aims to protect the environment, it could also cause economic problems. If strict laws stop businesses from working, it would lead to job losses as many companies may shut down and higher prices for products because businesses will have to spend more money to meet the new environment regulation. Also, slower economic development meaning fewer opportunity for people. This means that's why protecting nature is important. We must also think about the people and businesses that rely on economic growth. Thank you. That's for all for me.
Was that your opening statement, or did you keep going into the main argument? Just wondering.
It's all our main, though.
Okay, because I don't think stance 3 gave their opening
Yeah,
statement
because I
yet,
thought we
did
were
they?
gonna do like everybody gives their opening and then they do their
And then we all do a main argument, and then we all
Yeah.
do a rebuttal, and then the closing. Like we take it in turns for each. If that makes sense. Like opening statement for stance 1, opening statement stance 2, opening statement stance 3, and then main argument for stance 1, main argument stance 2, etc. Does that make sense?
So I'm not sure. Do we have to do it again or?
No, I'd say you like it's okay.
We can
Yes, you did
continue,
that
but
there.
just
We
let
can
stance
stance
3 go
3.
in.
Yeah, let stance 3 have their opening statement, and then we'll go back to stance 1 and give our main argument then.
Okay.
So should I just go for stance 3?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Fellow debaters, today us in the Environmental Protection Group argue for the recognition of the rights of nature. For too long, nature has been treated as a resource for exploitation, leading to environmental destruction and species extinction. Granting nature legal rights does not elevate it to the status of humans, but acknowledges its value and right to exist, thrive, and evolve. By recognizing these rights, we empower communities to protect ecosystems, ensuring a more sustainable future for both humanity and the planet. We will discuss the damage that we as a society have done to the natural world and argue in favor of legal rights being implemented to protect our planet.
That's great. Thank you, Ryan. If stance 1 could go for their main argument then, please.
Um, Natural landscape, rivers, mountains, and forests have been integral to human societies for generations. They sustain and shape our culture and maintain the ecological balance that we depend on. People who fight for legal rights for natural features argue that such an approach is necessary for safeguarding these crucial ecosystems. If rivers and mountains are granted legal rights, they can be defended in courts, ensuring that their integrity is not compromised by human activities such as pollution, deforestation, and over-extraction of resources. This shift is legal recognition and will promote long-term environmental sustainability and prevent the unchecked exploitation of nature for short-term economic gain. However, opponents argue that granting legal rights to nature creates significant governance and legal complications. If a river has rights, who represents it? Who is held accountable for damages? Will a local community be sued for drawing water from a river for irrigation? These issues could lead to prolonged legal battles, delayed essential infrastructure projects, and economic progress. Existing environmental laws, if properly enforced, already provides the means to protect nature while maintaining a balance with human development.
Another key argument against this approach is the potential economic impact. Many communities depend on natural resources for agriculture, energy, and tourism. By granting rights to natural entities, there is a risk that responsible industries, such as farming and sustainable forestry, could be hindered, leading to the economic stagnation and hardship for local populations. Instead of granting personhood to rivers and mountains, efforts should be directed towards strengthening environments, regulations, and empowering local communities to act as stewards of their natural surroundings. Others counter this by highlighting that environmental laws have historically prioritized economic interest over ecological well-being. They argue that legal rights for natural features would ensure that future generations inherit a healthier planet. Additionally, granting legal rights to nature does not mean halting all development, but rather ensuring that development is sustainable and does not irreversibly damage ecosystems.
Great, thank you, Alana and Marianne. If stance 2 could go for the main argument, or just finish off what you had before because you already got something.
Stance 2.
I think, Kellen, your turn.
I think we already gave our main argument.
I know.
So
That's
then
fine.
does stance 3
Yeah,
want
if
to
you
go?
did all your
Yeah.
main argument, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm going to do the main argument for stance 3. We have left an ugly mark on planet Earth by destroying our natural resources and leaving ecosystems and natural beauties destroyed. We must try and combat this destruction by giving nature rights. By giving nature its rights, we not only fulfill life on land and life below water of our standard development goals, but we cross over into other goals, benefiting us humans by giving us better quality food and water. Here in Ireland, we have destroyed over 70% of our bogs by exploiting and taking away more and more layers each year. By giving our bogs rights, we'd be able to place a regulation on the amount of peat harvested each year, as peat is a limited resource, where 1 centimetre of peat takes over 10 years to form. Rights for nature will allow for more sustainable fishing practices and the protection of fresh and saltwater flora and fauna. The rise of temperature due to global warming has bleached our coral, and coral reefs take a long time to form. Over 25% of marine life lives in coral reefs, which only cover 1% of our oceans. In Ireland, over 50% of our freshwater habitats have been destroyed, which leaves us at a loss as we look to sea for our fresh fish. And Ireland prides itself on its locally sourced and ethical food products. Without rights for our underwater ecosystems, how can we be so sure that our fresh fish is ethically sourced? The pollution of our seas and oceans also has an effect on the quality of water that we swim in, and the quality of fish due to the level of microplastic found in fish today, with over 97% of fish having been found with microplastic in their systems. Giving rights to nature would stop the dumping of waste into our seas and oceans, where today there is a giant plastic patch spanning over 1.6 million kilometers, putting an incredible strain on the living creatures, as well as increasing the amount of microplastics in our food and water. Each year, our forests lose over 10 million hectares of land due to deforestation. This has massive implications for not only us humans, but also the ecosystems in those areas. Biodiversity is a hugely important issue, with over 10,000 species going extinct each year. Biodiversity is hugely important, as without ecosystems, ecosystems will collapse, which would have a massive effect on the way we get our food as humans. Every human being has a right to a healthy and clean environment where they can feel safe. But we have to turn to other species and see that they are living in places where they cannot feel safe or thrive. They're just surviving because we want more space and more power, and we have failed to look around us and see the damage we have done. In 2008 in Ecuador, the rights of nature were written into the constitution, meaning people could take legal action on behalf of a forest or river. I believe that this is the way forward to keep a balance between the industrial human world and the natural environment, making sure not just the individual, but the big corporations can't damage nature by dumping plastics or over-exhausting the resources. This earth is not just a commodity that we can use as we please. We have other living things here that we need to look out for as well.
Really good. Thank you, Hayley. If Stance One could start their rebuttal, please.
Okay, those against granting rights to natural features argue that it is impractical and unnecessary. Given that environmental laws already exist, however, environmental degradation continues at an alarming rate despite these laws. Proponents of this motion argue that the reason for this failure is that environmental protection is often secondary to economic interests. By granting these legal rights to nature, we ensure that these ecosystems have standing in court and are defended against destructive practices. Opponents also claim that these legal personhood for nature could lead to economic difficulties and conflicts. Yet, supporters highlight cases such like New Zealand's Wagani River, where granting legal personhood has represented itself in court. However, proponents counter that just as corporations have legal rights and are represented by human agents, natural entities can be represented by designated government groups, ensuring their protection without hindering responsible human activity.
If Stance Two could go, and also I didn't realize, but there's a time limit on this meeting because I only got the free version of Zoom, so there's just under 9 minutes left. So if everyone could talk a bit quickly.
From a business perspective, the idea of recognizing the rights of nature can be seen as an opportunity rather than a hindrance. While some may view the additional burden on the industry, business can play a significant role in protecting nature and in doing so contribute to their own longevity. They can do this in several ways. The first is adopt sustainable practices. Sustainable practices like sustainable sourcing. Businesses can commit to using materials that are reasonably sourced, reducing deforestation, pollution, and over exploration of natural resources. They can also implement energy efficient initiatives, renewable energy adoption, shift from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydroelectric. They can also try to educate their employees to better spread awareness on the issue, which could lead to better feedback and make people more inclined to buy their product because they may be seen as green. Uh, they could get a green certificate. Eco labeling can, like fair trade and other such things, can add to the product More people will be more inclined to buy the product due to the like so-called goodness of it. In conclusion, businesses are not only capable of protecting nature, but can thrive by doing so. By integrating environmental protection into their operations, companies can reduce costs, innovate, enhance their reputation, and ensure their own sustainability in a rapidly changing world. Ultimately, protecting nature and fostering healthy business environment are mutually beneficial goals.
Great, thank you. Stance 3.
Yeah. So while like some of the points that were made were really good, coming from the business side and from the business perspective and the like overall population perspective, for businesses, I agree that they do need to they need to build some things, need to make profits and everything, to build everything. However, there's loads of ways you can continue making profits but avoiding damaging nature. For example, you can use you can sorry you can use green materials such as like non-toxic chemicals and everything like that, and non-toxic chemicals to avoid actually harming the environment. And while like some people argue, like some businesses argue that there's too many regulations to be set when you're trying to become sustainable and too many criteria to meet, there's actually loads of businesses, for example, the Global Reporting Initiative, and they already have set standards. So it won't be too difficult to go on and you can meet the standards that are already set for you. From the perspective of population, I agree with how there are so many livelihoods depend on nature and how they need natural resources. However, there are definitely more ways to improve the way they harness the resources. So you can involve like adopting technologies and practices that reduce the environmental harm. For example, water efficient farming methods, sustainable forestry, and all renewable resources. Uh, and some of the population may worry that there's groups or regions that bear more economic consequences due to the fact that they're more dependent on natural resources. But there could be policies could be implemented that specifically support rural communities and industries that are most dependent on natural resources, because in the long run it is us that are going to have to suffer for because it is us that will suffer, even though because trees, everything, they're really, really important for our survival as well. And just over the last decade, around $1.5 trillion was lost due to economic losses, just because there was more natural disasters, again, due to climate change, people aren't looking after the environment. There's more loss for the economy, the government needed more funding, so there were more taxes. So again, there was just another increase in spending. So therefore, again, I think the nature should get right, as we need to protect our environment and make sure that we are living in a sustainable future, which will benefit us in the long run as well, and future generations to come.
Great, thank you. Now the closing statement from stance 1. In conclusion, as the local population, this debate is not just about the legal status of rivers and mountains, it's about the future of our planet and the communities that depend on these natural resources. Granting legal rights to natural features ensures their protection and sustainability, allowing future generations to benefit from their ecological and cultural value. However, concerns regarding governance, economic impact, and legal complications cannot be ignored. The best way forward might lie in strengthening existing environmental laws while exploring innovative legal protections that do not hinder economic progress. Ultimately, our goal should be to preserve nature not through legal fiction, but through practical, community-driven stewardship. Thank you. Now, stance 2, please give your closing argument. We have 3 minutes.
In conclusion, advocating for rights of nature from a business perspective does not mean stopping growth. On the contrary, it offers business the opportunity to grow in a sustainable way, ensuring long-term success. By embracing sustainable practices, businesses can thrive while simultaneously protecting the very resources they use. In the end, responsible stewardship of the environment is not just for the good, for the nature itself, it is essential for the future of the business itself.
Now, stance 3, please.
In conclusion, granting rights to nature is not just an ethical responsibility, it is a necessity for our own survival. We have already inflicted irreversible damage on our planet, from the destruction of over 70% of our boglands to the bleaching of coral reefs, the pollution of our oceans, and the loss of 50% of Ireland's freshwater habitats. Without intervention, we risk not only the collapse of ecosystems, but also the quality of our own food, water, and way of life. By recognizing nature's rights, we can implement regulations that protect vital resources like pee, ensure sustainable fishing practices, and prevent further pollution of our waters. It is only by protecting the natural world that we can secure a future for ourselves, where our food is ethically sourced, our water is clean, and biodiversity is preserved. The health of our planet is directly tied to our own well-being. And if we continue down this destructive path, all of us will pay the price.
That's great, guys. Thanks so much. 1.5 minutes to spare. I think that's everything. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ciara.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Emil.